Hello and welcome to Groovy Games, a video game podcast. This is episode 4. My name is Andrew Meister. What's going on, everyone? I just want to say thank you for your continued support. If you want to support us even further, please go visit our site, engage in the forums, check out our merch, share the podcast across social media. You certainly don't have to, but I thank you. And I'm going to try and make this a really short episode because I want to get into playing some games today. But first things first, the business. I guess we'll talk a little football real quick. My Philadelphia Eagles are in the Super Bowl, as well as the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't really think anybody's surprised that these two teams are in the Super Bowl this year. The Eagles have been the best team in the NFL all season long. I don't care what anybody else says. And the Kansas City Chiefs have always been good with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I guess the only surprising part is that Mahomes beat the Bengals on one bad leg. So there's that. It did get a little close there at the end of that game, but you know, that's what happens when you talk all that shit. And, yeah, I just, not surprising. I thought I would get, a little emotional during the game, at least for the Eagles game, since we're going back to the Super Bowl. But, because I remember when we beat that 2017 season when we beat, the Vikings to go to the Super Bowl. I got really emotional. But I didn't get emotional at all this time around. I kind of just sat there and was like, all right, we're going to the Super Bowl. Yep, been there, done that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a weird feeling. It's kind of like I knew that we would eventually go there again. And I knew we probably had a really good chance of getting there this season. So when we went up and beat the shit out of the 49ers, I wasn't really expecting a whole lot. I do want to say, even though the Eagles might have had probably one of the easiest paths to the Super Bowl, I still want to say something. We're in the fucking Super Bowl and your team is not, so shut the fuck up. It doesn't matter what team you play to get to the Super Bowl. You still have to play them, and the Eagles have played them and beat them by a lot. So all the people out there that say, oh, well, the Eagles beat all these easy, broken teams. Yeah, we did. We beat all those easy, broken teams, and we beat them by like 2 or 3 touchdowns. So at least we're dominating like we should be. So the Eagles end so the Super Bowl, I think it's 56? Super Bowl 56, maybe? 57, sorry. Super Bowl 57. It's in Arizona. Eagles, Chiefs. Should be a really fun game. A lot of great storylines coming out of this. Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce playing each other. Andy Reid versus his old team. Nick Sirianni used to coach under Andy Reid for like 12 hours, and then Andy Reid fired Nick Sirianni, so he's got a little chip on his shoulder there. Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, first duo quarterbacks that are black to play in the Super Bowl. And there's been black quarterbacks that have played in the Super Bowl before, but this is the first time that it's been 2 black quarterbacks starting in the Super Bowl. So yeah, really exciting times. And February 12th, I think that's when the Super Bowl is, February 12th. cannot get here soon enough. All right, enough of that. We're going to talk about some news. We only got 3 big news items today. It was kind of a slow week for news, not really much going on here. So number 1, Sony confirms it will remove the PlayStation Plus collection library in May. So before May rolls around, go on to your PlayStation account in the store on your PS5 or PS4 or whatever, and go ahead and redeem those 19 PS4 titles, because if you don't, they will be gone and you will not be able to get them. So this PlayStation Plus collection is something that Sony announced with the PS5. And basically, it's 19 games. And these games include God of War 2018, Fallout 4, Mortal Kombat, Uncharted 4, Ratchet and Clank, the remake, Days Gone, Until Dawn, Detroit Become Human, Battlefield 1, Infamous Second Son, Batman Arkham Knight, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Resident Evil 7, Bloodborne, Monster World, and Persona 5. Now, Persona 5 was already removed in May of last year. But yeah, the remaining 19 games are still up. If you haven't redeemed them, you may want to go ahead and do that before they're gone in May. And even if you don't end up playing them this year or next year or whatever, it's just nice to have them. You know what I mean? You can hit, redeem or download or whatever. I don't even think you have to download it. All you got to do is click on the little add to library thing. And then you can re-download them years later, I would assume and hope. So yeah, I already got all my games. And, the ones I already didn't buy and stuff like that. So, yeah. All right. Second news topic that we have is Gears of War 6 is reportedly the Coalition's next game after 2 other titles were canceled. This is kind of bouncing off of, the recent Microsoft layoffs and kind of the mismanagement of Xbox Studios. And so this article comes from VGC, written by Tom Ivan, and he writes, the Coalition said in May 2021 that it was preparing to transition to next-gen development using Unreal Engine 5. And shortly after, the LinkedIn profile of one of the studio's level designers claimed they had been working on a new IP. Jeff Grubb claimed the Coalition was at one point working on 2 now canceled projects, in addition to carrying out support work on Halo Infinite and working with Epic on The Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 tech demo. Never even saw that or heard of that or whatever. They have canceled that smaller project as well as another project. So there have been 2 games canceled there, he said. This was all reflected in the layoffs that happened at Microsoft, which did hit the Coalition a little bit. The studio is now going to move on fully to Gears 6. I say now it has likely moved on to Gears 6 in full over the course of last year, but definitely that will be their next game. Okay. No surprise there that the Coalition is working on Gears 6. Interesting that they were working on 2 smaller games before Gears 6, and those both were canceled by Microsoft. Tough sledding out there. Tough sledding. For a studio that Microsoft has bought and spent a lot of time investing in or whatever, not really getting their money's worth, in my opinion. Gears 4 was great in my opinion. I really liked Gears 4. Gears 5 was pretty good. Not as good as Gears of War 4 in my own opinion. And then Gears of War Tactics was okay. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I enjoyed it to a certain extent, and then I kind of got bored with it. But yeah, Gears of War 6 needs to be a really big hit, in my opinion. I've always, I want to go back and replay all the Gears of War games, but I think I'm gonna wait. I don't have that like strong itch in me yet to do it. So give it a couple more years when Gears of War 6 is about to come out, and maybe I'll give it a one quick run through, maybe. All right. And then the last piece of news we have, again, short news week, nothing really crazy going on. Extended Resident Evil 4 remake gameplay video walks through the church and the cabin fight. All right, so Capcom released video footage of Resident Evil 4 Remake's gameplay. I've managed to stay away from mostly anything with this game related. However, I did check out this video. I checked out the video, and I think it's about 12 minutes. Yeah, it's about like a 12-minute video, and it shows a lot. So if you're trying to stay completely away from Resident Evil 4 Remake spoilers, stay away from the video. Sorry, that was the chair. Jesus. Stay away completely. I'm not going to sit here and spoil what I saw in the video, but all I'm going to say is the typical things that are in Resident Evil 4, they are still in this game, so you don't have to worry about that. The only big changes that I saw are good changes. As far as the gameplay goes, you don't have to use the thumbstick and you're just aiming the reticle laser around or whatever. Now it's exactly how it was in the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remake. So, good on that. And then I guess the only other thing that I can say that I saw that I really, really liked was that, so in Resident Evil 4, there were phone conversations that you would have with Huntington or one of the bad guys or stuff like that. They would come over the radio, and it would be like a separate, it would be like a whole cutscene that takes up the whole screen. And it would basically stop the gameplay. Well, now in this remake, it's just, you can still, move around and play the game and stuff like that, but their little face pops up in, a little box at the bottom of the screen, and they talk to you like that. So you're still able to move around and collect things and stuff like that. So that's really, really good. There's a whole lot of other good stuff in here. I'm not going to spoil it, but all I'm going to say is the game looks awesome. It looks really, really good. The lighting looks great. There's a lot of rain in the game. That's kind of obscuring the sights sometimes, but it all looks good. It all looks good. I can't wait to play this game. I really can't. Yeah, I really can't wait to play it. That's all I'm going to say about it. But that's it for the news today. Again, quick, easy. All right, so what are we playing? What am I playing? The same stuff. Still trudging through Persona 2. I don't really think I put a whole lot of time into it this week. I think I might have put in an hour or two or something like that. Still playing Majora's Mask on the N64. Still playing through the Dead Space remake. I'll be playing more of it this weekend, and I'll probably end up finishing it this weekend because I am done with another game, which is Forspoken. I did not beat Forspoken. I put in 7 hours. I am officially done with this game. Which brings me to the main topic. The Forspoken, my Forspoken review. I didn't write anything up yet, and I probably won't, just because I don't know. I don't want to write up a long review, put it on the site, and it's just me shitting on a game. That doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help gamers. It doesn't help the developers who make the game. it doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? Like, I love video games and I want to celebrate video games, and I don't want to tear them down in any way, because it's hard to make a video game, and it's hard to make a great video game. And yeah, it's unfortunate for Square Enix and the team over there who made this game, just because I see where it went wrong, and I kind of see where it could have been great, but it's just not. All right, so real quick, Forspoken review. I mean, it's a very bad video game, and it's not very bad as like, oh, it's buggy and this and that. No, it's not really buggy. It's just very, very bland, and just not very inspiring. It's not very fun either, if I'm being completely honest. I would say the game started going off the rails like in the very beginning of the game in a cutscene. I think I talked about this a little bit last week on the episode, but I mean, the first 2 hours of this game is just tutorial stuff where you're being handheld throughout the entire experience. And the cutscenes, the acting, the dialogue, it's all weird. It's very, very weird. I'm not going to get too much into it because go listen to last week's episode where I talk about it a little bit, but it's just strange. It's very strange. And it made me laugh out loud where I'm like, there's no way they let this go. There's no way that they thought that this was okay to put out like this. So, and then after those 2 hours, you finally get into like this open world area, but they still do this tutorial hand-holding thing for another 2 hours, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, let me play your fucking game. So in reality, you have to sit through 4 hours of basically hand-holding tutorials until you're able to go out into the open world and kind of just explore and do your thing. The combat's okay, but it's boring, in my opinion. It gets very boring very fast. And your character, you can't level up your character as fast as you want to. You have to complete a lot of stuff throughout the main story in order to get all the cool like special abilities and things that make the game actually fun to play. But I don't know when you get that stuff. I'm 7 hours in and I didn't get that stuff. And I'm not going to sit here and play another second of it to try and get there. So, combat not inspiring. Cutscenes are weird and bad and awkward. Let's talk about the traversal in the open world. So you basically move, you hold the circle button, and you just kind of like glide and fly. Well, not fly, but you like run through the game, and you run up buildings and walls and stuff like that, and with parkour, and it's just, I don't know, it's just not good. I don't really know how to explain it. It's not precise. There's times where you'll be running off a cliff, and you'll be like zooming past something, you'll see a collectible over there, and you'll end up like totally like, instead of like stopping right where you want to be to get the collectible, you like whiff right past it. So then you gotta like wait until you fall to the ground. Then you gotta turn around and run back and grab that collectible. It just, the game constantly is slowing you down, basically, is what I'm trying to say. The other thing I really hated in this game is there's fall damage in this game, and I don't understand why. You're a fucking superhero in this game, basically. Why am I getting hurt from falling from off of a cliff that the developers put in this game on purpose? You put these really high landscapes up on purpose. Now, I get it, fall damage isn't the end of the world and blah, blah, blah. But come on, man. Fall damage isn't fun. Why would we sit through this? So it's kind of bothering. It bothers me a lot. and it just, it just adds to the flow of the game, and it adds to just the go and stopping of the entire process. It's just not fun. That's basically what it boils down to. There's crap all over the map, constantly grabbing and picking up stuff that you don't even need, really. So if you're one of those checklist gamers and you like to check your boxes and stuff like that, this game definitely has that for you. And there's a lot of it. So at least there's a lot of content in there. It's just that the content's not very good. I will say probably one of my favorite parts of this game, and that's not really saying a whole lot. One of my favorite parts of this game is there's these little chests in the game that you have to use. You have to do like a puzzle in order to open it. And if you've ever gotten those puzzles where it's like, the picture's all messed up and you have to use the sliders and make a picture out of that, it's kind of like what this is, except it's basically with lines. So if you've ever played, what's that game on Apple Arcade? I'm trying to think. Flow. If you've ever played Flow on your iPhone or your iPad or something like that, it's basically like that. A little bit. But, and none of the puzzles were really hard for me either. So that was a little disappointing, but again, that was probably the funnest part of the open world, is getting to these puzzles. And, I'm trying to think of some other positives. There's really not a whole lot. Yeah. It's just very uninspiring. That's all I can say. Very uninspiring. And I think they knew that. They just didn't know how to cancel this game, because they probably invested and spent so much money into it. And I'm assuming Sony invested a lot of money into this game. And you can see it it's an exclusive. You can see exclusive PlayStation capes and cosmetics in the game. And for a game that Sony backed and done by Square Enix, it's sad. It's sad that it's this bad. But again, I guess nobody was really surprised, since they didn't let people play it right, a little early. That's usually a telltale sign. So yeah, Forspoken is a bad game. If I had to rate it on the Groovy Games scale, so the scaling that we do is 1 through 5, 5 being a masterpiece, 1 being trash, don't even buy it. I would probably put this game at a 2. I'd probably give this game a 2 out of 5. It's not absolute trash. There is some good here. It's just the beginning of the game is really, really bad. The middle of the game is uninspiring, standard open world nonsense that we're tired of playing, I guess. And I just got so bored of it that I didn't even feel like finishing the game, in my opinion. So, but that's my own personal opinion, and because I didn't finish the game, I'm not giving it a 1. I'm not saying it's absolute trash, only because I didn't finish the game. So maybe somebody out there finished the game and they're like, hey, it's not that bad towards the end. I don't really know. All I know is that the 7 hours I put in, I can't get back. And I'm pretty mad about that. So 2 out of 5, Forspoken, not very good game. Don't bother with it. Unless if it looks like your cup of tea, then give it a shot. But I wouldn't waste my money on it. All right. Ooh. Excuse me. Big burp there. That's pretty much it for the show today. It's a short episode. I got a lot of stuff to do today. Not really a whole lot to talk about. Nobody submitted questions today or this week or whatever. But I do want to say thank you for still supporting us. Sharing this on social media, listening to the podcast and stuff like that, go and check out our merch. I just added a couple of extra things. I think I added like a new shirt, with some design, some shorts. I don't know if they're any good quality or not. Here's the thing I have a problem with the site I'm using for the clothing and stuff like that. It takes entirely way too long for this shit to get delivered to me. So I have to reach out to them and see what's going on with that. So yeah, just fair heads up, fair warning. If you buy anything from our merch store, it might get to you far, far, far later than you want. So I know most places it usually takes about like a week or two. It looks like this thing is pushing on 3 weeks, which is unacceptable to me. So we'll have to go and fix that or whatever. But anyway, this has been episode 4 of the Groovy Games podcast. Thank you for your continued support. My name is Andrew. Stay groovy.